And we are live in Los Angeles where very shortly Vitali Klitschko and Arreola will be entering the ring for a heavyweight title fight with Klitschko's slice of the heavyweight championship on the line. But first, we're going to go live to Floyd Mayweather's home in Las Vegas, where Floyd stands by 1 week after his conquest of Juan Manuel Marquez. And Floyd, your performance, its effectiveness, exceeded even the most optimistic expectations of your greatest admirers at ringside. I have to wonder if you were even better than you thought you would be.
Well, I felt good last Saturday, and the main thing that I wanted to do was just go out and display my skills and just be the best that I can be in the sport of boxing. And after the 2-year layoff, I came back, but I think I could still improve, and I feel that I still can get better.
Our experts, Emmanuel Stewart and Max Kellerman, both thought you might have been going for a knockout in the 9th or 10th round. I wasn't really sure. I thought you were just fighting your fight. What was it?
I was pressing the attack, but Marquez he's a very solid opponent. He's tough, and he wouldn't go down for nothing. So hopefully in our next fight we can get the knockout.
And incidentally, tracking at apparently over 1 million pay-per-view buys, so I guess you made your point there as well.
Well, I'm just blessed, and I just want to say thank you to all the fans that tuned in and bought pay-per-view. I appreciate the support. Mayweather Promotions is going to continue to keep moving forward. We're looking for some young and upcoming fighters, and I let my team handle everything. Leonard and Al Heyman has done a tremendous job with Mayweather Promotions and done a tremendous job with my career. It felt good working back with my father, and it felt good working with my Uncle Roger Mayweather also.
All right, as we get ready to look at the future, we want to go back to the moment when Shane Mosley either intruded or was invited into your post-fight interview. And I want to set this up. Our viewers are going to see you motioning Shane toward you, and I'm also told by people who sat on his side of the ring that you were winking at him. Tell me what happened. I can see that
they was already setting that up. I can see that I guess Bernard Hopkins told Shane Mosley to get in the ring and I guess be disrespectful. But like I said before, Shane Mosley is a good fighter. I wish him nothing but the best in his career, and only thing I want to do is continue just to be the best that I could be in my career.
I'll tell you what, I think we can dispense with looking back at what happened last week because you've said what you have to say about Shane Mosley. Other future possible opponents would include Manny Pacquiao if he beats Miguel Cotto, Cotto if he beats Pacquiao, Mosley himself. Where do you lean? Where do you lean? The most money is the Pacquiao fight.
Well, it's really, like I said before, it's not about the money. It's for the love of the sport. I love the sport of boxing, but of course, it got to make business sense. And in 1999, we tried to fight Shane 10 years ago. He turned the fight down, and then in 2006, when he fought Fernando Vargas, right after the fight, he said that he had a toothache and he wanted to go on vacation with his family. I guess now that he's 38 and his career is kind of coming to an end, and everybody know they can make huge money with Floyd Mayweather. Everybody is shooting shots at me, but I wish Shane Mosley nothing but the best in his career.
I got one more question. Everybody thought for months the fight was going to take place at 144 by an arrangement that was made at the last minute. You weighed in at 146. And are you finished with catchweights?
Well, any fight over 140 is a welterweight fight.
I agree.
I didn't want to. I wanted to fight and feel comfortable, and I also want to apologize to you, Jim, and Larry Merchant, Emmanuel Stewart, and Max Kellerman, for what happened.
Floyd, we accept your apology. We're observers of your career with interest and tremendously excited by everything you've accomplished and what we look forward to in the future.
I truly apologize, but I just want to continue to keep fighting. Like I said before, Leonard and Al handles my business outside the ring. When it's time to get inside that square circle, that's why I take care of my business.
All right, congratulations again on a triumphant return to the fort.
Appreciate it.
All right, look forward to seeing you in the future. That's Floyd Mayweather. He's still unbeaten at 40 wins, no losses after last week's conquest of Juan Manuel Marquez. Meanwhile, let's look ahead to what's coming up on HBO Boxing. October 24, it's the premiere. First, tonight's live fight between Vitali Klitschko and Arreola for Vitali Klitschko's heavyweight belt. That will be coming up here live at Staples Center very shortly. Now I will move ahead, and I apologize for the misstep. October 24, the premiere of the next installment of 24/7. This time around, we'll take you inside the lives of superstars Manny Pacquiao and Miguel Cotto as they prepare for their big fight this November. October 27, catch the premiere of the latest Real Sports, featuring a look at the tragic death last April of Angels pitcher Nick Adenhart. November 7, World Championship Boxing returns with light heavyweight champ Chad Dawson looking for his second win over the always dangerous Glenn Johnson. 1 week later, HBO pay-per-view brings you Manny Pacquiao against Miguel Cotto in what figures to be a can't-miss action fight, possible Fight of the Year candidate. November 28, Lucian Bute will be taking on Librado Andrade in a rematch of their fight last October, in which Bute survived a 12th round knockdown to win by unanimous decision. And finally, on December 5, Kelly Pavlik puts his middleweight championship on the line against Paul the Punisher Williams. For all that and more, log on to HBO.com. So Arreola and Klitschko meet at the summit of the heavyweight division. A quick look at the way the division figures right now. The top three fighters in the division, at least the holders of belts at this moment, are Vladimir Klitschko, generally recognized as the number one heavyweight in the world. Vitali Klitschko, his older brother, generally recognized as 1A or 2. And Nikolai Valuev will be defending his belt against Britain's David Hay later this fall. Who are the Americans? As American fans continue to look for somebody who can reinsert the United States into the top level of the heavyweight picture, Chris Arreola gets his chance tonight. More on him very shortly. Eddie Chambers has a probable date with Vladimir Klitschko early in 2010. He's a cagey defensive fighter, and so is Kevin Johnson, who is unbeaten, though seemingly underpowered, with only 9 KOs among his 23 fights so far. And there is a look at the man of the moment. This is tremendous opportunity night for Chris Arreola, who becomes a giant star if he can upset Vitali Klitschko. Let's take a look at why.
There's a lot to like with Chris Arreola.
Arreola trying to finish him off.
He attacks always.
Arreola rips him along the rope.
He's an animal.
Big win, unbeaten. Tonight, Riverside, California's Chris Arreola takes the dramatic leap from prospect to title contender, a path that began 20 years ago.
Every day was boxing. Eat, breathe, shit, boxing, every day. I was like one of the tallest kids. I've always been a tall kid. So from like 12, 13, 14, 15 years old, I always sparred with professional fighters. You know, they were men, so I was a kid sparring with men.
It was in those tests that a much younger and skinnier Arreola developed a style he was able to carry up to the professional ranks as a heavyweight.
I'm a combination fighter. I'm not a power puncher. You know, I always try to throw at least 4 or 5 punches at a time, and one of them's gonna land, and when it lands, it's gonna hurt.
He's not a guy who hadn't been able to make it in another sport, or was a tough street guy who suddenly decided to go into a gym and learn how. They didn't really have sound fundamentals as fighters. This guy does.
Chris is averaging 70, 80 punches around, which is, you know, a bit rare for the heavyweight division.
Chris Arreola, in my view, is the most promising American heavyweight since Riddick Bowe.
But like Bowe, Arreola fights another battle outside the ring, the battle of the bulge.
Sometimes I don't think he gives us the best chance to win, being sometimes that he comes in a little out of shape, you know, a little bit too far out of shape. At times it is very frustrating, you know, very frustrating at times.
Michael Phelps smoking weed, why can't I drink a beer? You know, that guy's still setting records. Why can't I have a beer?
He had gotten up to about 290, which is by far the heaviest he had ever gotten. He lives like he fights, you know, sometimes recklessly, balls to the wall.
It's a problem, but at the same time, it's not. Because, shit, I work hard, and I'm gonna play hard.
Hardly what one hopes for from a 21st century prize fighter. So with the heavyweight title in sight, Ramirez realized his man needed to take conditioning seriously. Enter Darrell Hudson, a physical trainer who's worked with the likes of Shane Mosley, Winky Wright, and Chad Dawson.
A lot of people use weight as a barometer for saying that they're in a certain shape. You know, and you can't go by weight because we're not training to lose weight. We're trained to be in the best condition. So wherever the weight falls, it falls.
And for the first time, his training includes 2-a-days, a morning workout with Hudson, and then an afternoon boxing session with Ramirez.
Never have I ever like done any strength and conditioning and stuff like that.
He'll feel the strength. He'll feel that his breathing is under control. He'll be able to do the things that he did in the first round and the 9th round.
Daryl's been kicking my ass, and I've been sore in places that I didn't know I could get sore at. I just know that I'm putting in more work in the morning, putting in more work in the evening, and that's all good enough for me.
Tonight we'll find out whether Arreola is good enough and in good enough shape to win the biggest fight of his life.
I feel that, you know, maybe at times he hasn't respected every one of his opponents up until now. But for Vitali Klitschko, I mean, there is no greater challenge in the heavyweight division. So he's preparing accordingly.
You got to dance with who brung you. He is who he is. And if that's good enough, it's good enough. And if it's not, it's another hope dashed.
I'm a boxer. You know, I'm not a bodybuilder. You know, I'm not a pretty guy. I don't give a fuck. I'm in there to box. I'm in there to fight. I'm in there to bang some heads. I love it. I live for that stuff.
Arreola is acutely aware that his weight struggles have become the stuff of urban legend. At Thursday's weigh-in, he couldn't resist playing with that a bit. He stepped on the scale first, wearing the t-shirt as you see. Under the t-shirt, hidden from view, was a 20-pound exercise vest. So wearing that vest,
272 pounds.
He weighed a shocking 272 and instantly revealed the joke to Vitali and all others surrounding him and stepped back onto the scale for a far more civilized and propitious 251.
250.
So score the first joke for Arreola. But bettors believe that the joke is going to be on him, Larry, as the odds are up to something like 5-1 in favor of Vitali Klitschko. You were quoted in the piece, or you said in the piece, that he's the best American heavyweight prospect since Riddick Bowe, and that's been quite a while. So do you give him a serious chance to win tonight?
Guilty. And sort of besotted since we first saw him 3 years ago, thinking then, could this be the great American hope who goes to a Klitschko not to die? Like Riddick Bowe, Arreola is a plus-size heavyweight with smaller heavyweight skills. That doesn't count the diligence and the discipline that normally go with a championship-level fighter. He sort of jiggles in places that he shouldn't jiggle in. But he has an aggressive pressure style that can make an old fighter look older, even if, like Klitschko, he is diligent about his work still and looks sculpted. Or he can make him look younger if he keeps getting tagged by big punches. We're here to Jim to find out whether he has the substance to go with that style on this level of the game.
And some of the 13,000 or so who have come into Staples tonight were probably here 6 years ago, in June of 2003, when Vitali Klitschko made his biggest, bravest statement toward heavyweight superiority. Since that time, his date with Lennox Lewis, he's really had two segments of his career separated by a 4-year layoff created mostly by injuries that wouldn't let him out of training camp. But in the two fights since his most recent return, he may have been better than ever. Let's take a look. In June 2003, Vitali Klitschko challenged then heavyweight champion Lennox Lewis for his title.
He rips him again with a right hand. Lewis momentarily wobbles. Vitali Klitschko is roughing Lennox Lewis up. It's just a Pier 6 brawl in there, guys.
While a badly cut eye ended Klitschko's night after 6 rounds, his spirited but losing performance vaulted him into public consciousness as the heir apparent to Lewis.
Isn't it fair to say tonight, Lewis wins the fight, Klitschko wins the event?
Less than 1 year later, Klitschko would not be denied in his next championship fight against Corey Sanders.
And Vitali Klitschko is going to try to finish it right here. Finally, the referee rescues Sanders, and Vitali Klitschko stakes his claim.
In 2004, Klitschko reinforced his status as the top heavyweight with a definitive win over Britain's Danny Williams.
You want to see a heavyweight destroyer? Vitali Klitschko wants to be your man. He wants to be your man right now.
Since then, a string of injuries forced Klitschko into retirement. during which time he twice ran and lost in bids to become mayor of Kiev in his native Ukraine. In his absence, his younger brother Vladimir emerged as boxing's top heavyweight. In 2008, 4 years following his last fight, Vitali returned to boxing and recaptured a title with a dominant performance against Sam Peter. That win established the Klitschkos as boxing's first brother combination to simultaneously reign as heavyweight belt holders. And we bring you back live to ringside with a World Championship boxing expert, Emanuel Stewart, who trained Lennox Lewis to that victory over Vitali 6 years ago. Tough one. Who now trains Vladimir, the younger, more decorated brother of Vitali, and who's also been in the gym quite a bit with Vitali. What are the best reasons why Big Vitali is such a heavy favorite over Arreola tonight?
I think one of the reasons is that great fight that we were just watching in 2003. Even though he lost the fight, he became a very popular person with the fans. And I think when you consider that, and you consider the fact that in every area, when you start breaking it down, size, experience, punching power, everything favors Vitali Klitschko. And the people perceive him as being like an unbeatable guy. He's the brother of Vladimir, the one that is recognized by most people as the main champion, but he's considered the tough guy. And he's a very physically imposing man in the ring. Probably, I'd say, next to Sonny Liston and Mike Tyson, one of the most intimidating guys that I've ever saw in the ring.
Fascinating. More intimidating than Lennox.
I would say so. There was something about, I think, not only Vitali is a very tall guy, but he holds his body in some upright position. He's a tall guy that gets taller when you see him in the ring. And
fights
that
big.
answer is like, yeah, he fights very big.
And that'll be interesting for Arreola because Klitschko has a 3.5 or 4 inch height advantage. In fact, let's take a look at the tail of the tape as these two heavyweights prepare to get into the ring. And you see the 10-year age advantage for Arreola, which he wants to make stick with an active pace. But Klitschko, 3.5 inches taller, perhaps even more to the point, 3.5 inches of arm length advantage measured from the armpit to the end of the fist. And Vitali can use that not only for his jab, but he reaches out and grabs opponents and moves them to where he wants them to be. And you can see that the weight is almost equal. But again, Vitali's maybe 4 inches taller. Rules of the bout with our unofficial ringside scorer, Harold Letterman.
The Vitali Klitschko Cristobal Arreola fight is scheduled for 12 rounds using the unified rules of the Association of Boxing Commissions. There is no 3 knockdown rule. Only the referee can stop the fight. In case the cut is caused by an accidental headbutt, we go to the scorecards after 4 rounds have been completed, and you cannot be saved by the bell at any round, including the 12th and final round. Jim.
Chris Arreola has a fascinating personality. From a distance, he can seem very intimidating. Up close, he's a cuddly teddy bear. He says that he's ready for this assignment tonight, and it appears that a fair number of Mexican Americans have come to support his quest.
Yeah, for most of Mexican Americans or Mexicans, Jim, a heavyweight is as foreign as escargot or a camel race. There's only been one Mexican who ever fought for a title before, and he knows the weight of history is on his shoulders. When he went to junior college for a year or so, he wanted to be a history major. Now he says he wants to be the Mexican-American Jack Johnson.
Emanuel, does he have the calm, the poise, to go in under these circumstances and fight his fight?
We will find out in a few moments, but I believe he has. This is why I think this would be possibly the most exciting heavyweight fight since Vitali Klitschko fought Lennox Lewis here. The rest of the heavyweight fights the last 5-6 years, for the most part, has been against opponents who came in intimidated, particularly by the Klitschkos. I think Arreola brings the desire to win, and that's what makes him different.
Well, there aren't nearly as many citizens of Eastern European lineage here in Southern California as there are Mexicans and Mexican Americans, but there are a fair number of Ukrainians and Russians in LA, although they are being drowned out now by the noise made by the Mexican American fan.
Jim, this is how formidable Klitschko is. He's never been knocked down. In the 2 fights he lost, he was retired by injuries. He's never been behind at the end of a fight. In his 37 other fights, 36 knockouts.
Emanuel, Vitali Klitschko may have to hold some to blunt Arreola's frenetic offensive attempts, particularly in the early rounds. Is Vitali up to hearing the crowd boo?
I think it's going to be a psychological change because all of his recent fights since he's made his comeback has all been in Germany. And I mean, in Germany, it's so everything is biased. I mean, the Klitschkos are like gods in Germany. So this is going to be a psychological change for him, and it may affect him a little bit.
Two very big men in the ring. Let's go to Michael Buffer for the official introductions.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to Staples Center, Los Angeles, California, USA, where tonight K2 Promotions, in association with Goose and Tudor Promotions, is proud to present the main event of the evening, 12 rounds of boxing for the World Boxing Council Heavyweight Championship of the World. Sponsored by Viva Mexico, It's Time to Go, and Corona Extra. Sanctioned by the WBC President Jose Suleiman and the California State Athletic Commission Chairman Tim Noonan. At ringside, the three judges scoring this bout on the 10-point system. From Italy, Guido Cavalieri. From Thailand, Anek Hongtongkan. And from Japan, Ken Morita. And inside the ring, the man in charge of the action at the bell, veteran World Championship referee John Shorley. And now for the thousands in attendance here at Staples Center, Los Angeles, California. May the best man be victorious. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble! Fighting out of the blue corner, wearing black with silver, official weight 251 pounds, or 113.85 kilograms. His professional record, a perfect one. 27 fights, 27 victories, including 24 knockouts. Tonight, this fighter is proud to represent his Mexican-American heritage as the challenger from Riverside, California, by way of East LA. The undefeated WBC #1 ranked heavyweight contender in the world, La Pesadilla, Cristobal, the Nightmare, Arreola. And fighting out of the red corner, wearing black, officially weighing in at 252 pounds, or 114.3 kilograms. His professional record, 37 victories with 36 knockouts and only 2 defeats. His KO to victory ratio is the greatest in heavyweight champions history. From Kiev, Ukraine, and Hamburg, Germany, the reigning, defending, two-time WBC heavyweight champion of the world, Dr. Eisenfaust, Dr. Iron Fist, Vitali, Klitschko.
Chris.
Chief second only. Chief second only, please. Chief second only. Okay, Mr. Klitschko, Mr. Arreola, this fight is for the WBC Heavyweight Championship of the world. Give me a good, clean fight. Obey my commands and protect yourselves at all times. Touch gloves, good luck.
Arreola says he looks like an orange picker, so he's no threat to George Clooney. But is he a threat to one of the stalwarts of the heavyweight division? in the 2000s.
Can Clooney fight? Ideally, this won't require a lot of blow-by-blow. They're going to bang away.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a very exciting fight. Arreola said he's going to be aggressive, and Vitali said he's going to be aggressive also.
I kind of doubt it. I think Vitali's going to try to back away for the first few rounds and burn Arreola out. But we shall see. There's a right hand over the top by Klitschko. He landed a little left hook to begin the evening. Arreola so far hasn't been able to get inside Klitschko's arms.
And what he's got to be careful is watching just what Vitali does now. He's just so busy, preoccupied with trying to figure out what he's going to do, and that's why then he lulls you to sleep and then he catches you with a big shot.
Body shot by Arreola. Vitali takes one to the ribs and goes away.
Well, I would say this much. At this point, Arreola has created a lot more pressure and tension for Vitali than any opponent has been in a long time.
Yeah, Corey Sanders was going for a one-punch knockout. Danny Williams couldn't seem to figure out what to do against Vitali. Sam Peter didn't exist. Juan Carlos Gomez in his most recent fight got in a couple of shots in the first 2-3 rounds. But by and large, Vitali has been able to dominate opponents with his great defense.
And right now, Arreola has slowed down his momentum and his intensity has slowed down right away. And that gives Vitali the room now to start slowly, systematically picking him apart.
Klitschko has stood up to him, trying to discourage him from coming in.
1.5 minutes left on the round. We're exactly midway through. Our clock is momentarily not working, so I'll keep you posted on timings as we go along. Vitali Klitschko is throwing jabs, right hands, uppercuts, body shots, and Arreola is having trouble finding the distance from which to get started.
But if you notice, after every exchange, Vitali gets back in position with the jab to keep his distance. He finishes up everything with a long jab after he gets through.
Areola's gloves are held high, and he does protect himself as he tries to get in. And Klitschko rarely goes to the body.
Klitschko also holds his left hand well below his waist. Why, Emmanuel?
Left hand is right because he has an unusual sense of feeling when a guy's getting ready to punch, and he can sense it and move away. It's one of the unique things I watched when I was watching him in training. He can feel if you're going to throw a right hand, he'll move into the position and punch at the same time to neutralize the punch. He takes great advantage of his height.
It's been a Vitali Klitschko round by and large up to now. We build Arreola to you as a guy who throws punches in bunches, and there he flies with the double jab. But the dominant action of the round has been 1 or 1-2 by Vitali Klitschko. And as is usually the case in Staples Center, a star-studded crowd has turned out as though it were a Laker game. You recognize them, Schwarzenegger and Stallone, not always such good buddies. Mike Tyson seems to be coming to every big fight in the United States these days. Hayden Panettiere is in her way as big as Tyson was. Mickey Rourke, Oscar nominee last year for his amazing performance in The Wrestler. There's Kobe Bryant, who has had some amazing nights here himself. And not too far away from Kobe, Pete Rose. Big boxing fan.
To the left to cut his ass off, right? All right, deep breath. One more. One more. All right, keep those hands up, baby. Just keep working behind that stick, all right?
Let's go, guys. Let's go. Get the stool. Let's go. Let's go.
Get the stool.
Rose is here to root for Arreola. He's buddies with promoter Dan Goosen and has been a guest in Areola's gym. But in round 1, Vitali Klitschko 34 out of 88 to only 7 of 32 for Chris Arreola.
Sometimes the best way to deal with a jabber is to jab him, and that's what Arreola is trying to do in this round.
But so far, Klitschko has been keeping the fight right at the distance where he can punch her very effectively, and Arreola is trying to lunge and reach, and he cannot really get the range for his punches yet.
Right now. Easier for Chris to go to the body, and there he is, banging away at the body as he promised he would do, to try to bring Klitschko down a little lower and get at the head.
Yeah, but right now, Vitali's starting to get his range, and pretty soon you're going to see that right hand come right through the middle.
So you think Vitali's very comfortable with the way things are going?
He's comfortable at this stage right now. He's comfortable at this stage. But I will say, like Chris, as we see right there, is creating a lot more anxiety than anyone else has did.
Anxiety or no, Klitschko still, for the most part, is keeping Arreola at the distance at which he wants him. Landing his jab, his left hook, a straight right hand, as you saw right there, knocking Arreola back a step. There's a body shot for Klitschko. He ain't pretty, just effective.
Arreola is making Klitschko work hard, but
Yes.
he's not landing enough punches.
He's not landing, but I tell you what, if he can maintain this tempo for 3 more rounds without getting knocked out, it's going to be very interesting because Vitali's not used to having to fight at this pace.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, the reason Vitali threw 88 punches in round 1 is because Arreola's coming at him,
Yeah, he's
and
making
Vitali
him
needs to throw to keep him back. That's how eager Arreola is to get there. He has to hope that he can tire Klitschko out at this pace. Vitali with his hands held low and apart, inviting Arreola to come in.
But he has a feel of distance, or even though he has his hands low, he's always keeping a certain distance where he can just simply move back, right, and then reach in and punch.
2 good shots by Klitschko, starting to measure Arreola.
At the end of the day, Manuel, is Vitali just more of an athlete than he looks to be?
Yes, he has his own effective awkwardness, but it's very, very good. Very coordinated awkwardness.
Jetzt durch. Immer wieder die linke. Jetzt ein bisschen tiefer stehen und den rechten Oberschenkel. Links rausgehen, rechten Oberschenkel. Er läuft genau. Rechter
Okay,
Vorderkammer, sehr gut.
use the left again, then go a little bit lower, go back and go forward.
Und immer wieder kein Bus zu, bisschen wieder.
And slow down a little bit, reduce it, and then evade him and then counter. Okay, it's easy.
Good.
You heard our German interpreter, Rudy Kuntz.
Keep those hands moving, hands up, all right?
Through 2 rounds by CompuBox count, Vitali Klitschko has landed 77 punches, 34 in the first round, 43 in the second. Arreola, 7 and 10, 17 connects. So far, by CompuBox count, Vitali has a 60-punch edge in landed punches. Can he keep up the pace? He's fighting with an open mouth, breathing through his mouth. My memory is, Emmanuel, he always does that.
He always does that. He always has his mouth open and his right hand down, but he still can go the long distance fights still doing that all night because he maintains that certain space where he can get away with that.
And incidentally, he hasn't only been able to go rounds against opponents, but he has scored late knockouts, several of them.
Yeah, and he throws weird punches. He'll throw sometimes like a straight right and uppercut combination. Now he threw a looping right hand over the side. The next right hand might go through the center. The next might be uppercut.
And all of the punches look slow and awkward enough to the layman that the opponent might be forgiven for thinking, why am I getting hit constantly?
Well, one thing, you don't know which angle they're coming from.
Well, the other thing is that he can throw arm punches with power. He's so strong, and that keeps him defensively still in a good position. And he doesn't commit to these punches.
If you're an Arreola enthusiast, you may be forgiven for treating yourself to the notion that he's getting closer and maybe doing more damage. There was a smile on Chris's face there after he ducked a punch from Vitali. Well, the question becomes, who's paid more of a price to get through the first 3 rounds? Is Klitschko wearing down from all the movement and activity and throwing 90 punches per round, or is it Arreola who's getting worn down from taking a lot of leather and trying to pressure inside without getting much whip?
That's a good question.
Well, it's Arreola. He's getting hit, and that makes up for a lot of stuff. How long can he go on taking this kind of punishment? But Klitschko is, with his PhD in sports science, a cold, calculated, cerebral killer.
Cristobal Arreola's wife Erin, daughter Danae, sitting to her left. There were times in the past when Erin had to take fast food joint jobs at minimum wage to help the Arreolas make ends meet. Not anymore. And if you were to win tonight, probably not ever again.
Away, all right? Pick it up. All right? Deep breath. Don't get careless, right? I need you to be aggressive but smart, all right? Deep breath.
Combi box numbers on jabs becoming one-sided. Klitschko 57 out of 185. Arreola 20 out of 76. Arreola's face is beginning to redden and show the damage from the number of punches he's taken so far.
Yeah, he's taken a lot of punches from Vitali, but one thing he has still been successful, I think, is crowding and creating a lot of more pressure on Vitali than anyone that he's fought in a long time.
Harold, how do you have it through 3?
Okay, Jim. 3 rounds to nothing. 30-27, Vitali Klitschko. Jim, I got to tell you, Chris Arreola is making the biggest mistake I've ever seen. He's standing right in front of Vitali Klitschko. You can't do it. The guy's too big. His jab is too hard. He drops the right hand down on you. You got to give him angles, and you got to work your way inside by giving him angles. Just like he's doing there. Let Vitali work a little. But if he stands in front of him, he gets murdered.
While you were talking, he landed, did Arreola, his 2 most effective punches of the fight so far. One was a right, one was a left. They were wild swings. That's probably what he has to do to get at Vitali.
Harold, you want him to be another fighter. He's this fighter. This is how he has to fight. This is what brung him here, fighting this way. And either he'll be successful or he won't. But he's not going to change. And there's a long way to go.
Vitali depends on keeping distance. That's why he drops his hands. At this stage right now, I would have to say that Arreola is taking that distance away from him, and having his hands down may end up costing him, because to me, Arreola is fighting a perfect fight for himself, considering his limited experience and talent and everything. I think he's fighting the best fight that he can fight.
And the sheer determination of Arreola may be changing the fight. Certainly he has begun to get his supporters in the crowd into it here in this 4th round.
Yeah, he's starting to close the distance a little, but he's still catching a lot more than he's throwing.
And if he gets it tired, he's going to get hurt easier than Vitali, because Vitali can get tired, but when you have experience, it's like a second motion, a second instinct. And you can do an automatic drive and still function. Where a lack of experience, he gets tired, Arreola can get hurt very easily.
Well, Klitschko, he's so tall and he fights so tall, it's sort of like he does rope-a-dope in the middle of the ring without the rope. It's hard to reach.
4 straight jabs by Klitschko. Arreola got in a body shot. Little left hook by Vitali. Right uppercut partially blocked by Arreola. It was Arreola who promised us punches in bunches. He hasn't been able to get there enough. Klitschko is the one who's throwing sometimes 3-4 punches at a time. But not really combinations, just sequences of punches.
Schön vorbei. Bisschen schneller dann gegengehen. Nicht so hoch kommen, ganz schnell gegengehen. Links raus, tief den rechts aufwärts. Klappt jetzt 100%. Er wird langsamer. Double and triple jab, constantly moving your head. But listen to me. Don't push your punches, all right? Get your legs under you, all right? Get your legs under you. Look for him underneath a little more, all right?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Talk to me, baby. How we feeling?
Here you see Chris Arreola getting in close range and being effective because Vitali has to have a little loop room in his punches. And you see a little short left hook right here that landed by Arreola simply because he's closing the gap and getting closer where Vitali has a little bit more gangliness in his punches.
By CompuBox count, incidentally, that little left hook is one of only 6 power punches Arreola has landed in the fight. And he's falling behind on the scorecards, as you see from Harold Letterman's unofficial card. But that may not be the heart of the matter. The heart of the matter is, can he keep pressuring Klitschko, get closer, and cause Vitali to make a mistake that might give him a chance to hurt him. Fifth of the scheduled 12. After Vitali Klitschko landed a right hand, Arreola shook his head as if to say that's not a big one. And Vitali sneaks in another right hand. Lands a body shot up and under. And basically runs away to keep Arreola at bay. Big Vitali switching feet to turn back with a right hand.
Arreola got to be very careful. He didn't get too anxious and get too careless because he sees Vitali running and get caught with a right hand as he's running in.
Yes, as unconventional as it seems, he's chasing a puncher around the ring.
Yeah, but I think that's the only thing that he can do. But he's got to be aware always that Vitali can punch from a distance where he can punch at. He can hit just like that.
Manages to corner Vitali Klitschko, and Vitali leans on Arreola to push him back.
I have a question. He's landed 6 or 7 power punches to the body in this round. Does he get credit for those as power punches?
They should.
You don't in amateur boxing, but I think you should in professional boxing.
Got to find a way to get inside Arreola if he wants to stay in this fight. Vitali Klitschko not fighting like a 38-year-old. Maybe if you take the 4 years off, he's really only 34.
There was a moment in the 4th round when it appeared Klitschko might be tiring a little. He's gotten very active again here in the 5th.
Well, 4 years, of course, for when he was nursing some chronic injuries in his legs, his shoulders, and his back. But he certainly doesn't seem to be hurting anywhere now.
He's gradually dressing Arreola's eyes with swelling and redness up top.
But Arreola's confidence is growing as the fight's going. Even though he's being out-punched and he's taking a lot of punches, I think his confidence is growing still.
Well, he's got Vitali on the run.
Well, and he knows that Vitali is not a big one-punch puncher.
Thank you. Good job.
He just beats you down and beats you down.
Okay, take down your arms. Take down your arms. Recover. Okay, go to the left and then retaliate with right, step out. Okay, first left, then right.
Fred, listen to me. Don't let him lull you into, sitting there waiting. You gotta fucking pressure him. You gotta keep coming to him, right?
Yeah, but he's fucking number locked.
I know.
Press away from him?
Yeah. No. Why don't you keep doing what you're doing, cutting them off to the left, all right, and then we'll see what happens after that. I need those hands up. Did you work this?
Average numbers through 5. And obviously, as Larry made clear, CompuBox doesn't mean everything. But Klitschko is averaging 33 out of 84 every round, and Arreola is averaging 7 out of 33. Arreola almost walked into a big right hand.
He's got to be very careful, in particular when Vitali steps off to his own right and gets Arreola trying to twist and pivot to find him, and then Vitali shoots a right hand right on the side while he's turning around.
Yes, because Vitali can fire that right hand across his body very effectively.
He said he had a plan A, a plan B, and a plan C for this fight. But plan A seems to be working so well, we'll never see B and C.
Arreola's still trying. Both Samuel Peter and Juan Carlos Gomez, Klitschko's last two opponents, had basically given up by this point in the fight.
That's right, and that makes the difference. I figured this would be the toughest fight that Vitali would have had in a long time, and it's turning out to be that. Even though he's winning it, he's really having to work, though.
Yeah, he's probably not going to make Chris Arreola give up.
No, he's not. He's going to have to work all the way until his fight ends, whether it's a decision or knockout. After every exchange, still, I love the fact that Vitali always gets back with his left hand when he gets through and gets his distance, or he doesn't end up falling into his man and clinching. In fact, how many clinches have you saw in this entire fight?
Well, this round has begun to suggest that Arreola's momentum is waning. And now he almost got a big right hand onto the chin of Klitschko, just as I was saying that.
And that's just what it comes almost. It's very seldom you land a clean punch on Vitali.
Well, you know, we've talked about Arreola being able to put punches together, but it's really hard to hit Klitschko with the second shot.
Thank you, thank you. Right here, turn around, turn around.
He knows the space in the ring so well. He's so much better with his feet than you expect a man his size to be. And he holds his hands out in front of him when necessary and either pushes you off or hits you to keep the space.
He's fighting a very controlled distance fight.
Something he knows how to do.
Yeah.
Ask Corey Sanders, ask Danny Williams, ask any of the last several opponents who just couldn't get inside on the big man.
Honest, I think he looks way better than he did when he fought Corey Sanders to me. He seems his punches are much more crisper, have a lot more power and snap.
Well, I think he has more confidence in himself. He feels more like the king of the world now than he did then. Halfway through the scheduled 12 rounds, and so far, no light at the end of the tunnel for Cristobal Arreola, despite all the ardent hopes of the crowd here in Staples.
One more.
Open your mouth, Chris. Open your mouth.
Those of you who've been watching our most recent fights know that we've developed a graphic effect which shows you where where an opponent's punches are landing. Here is where Vitali Klitschko is painting Chris Arreola through 6 rounds. And you see the big number, 98 on the chin. 18 body shots with the right hand. Most of the damage done upstairs. Vitali doesn't really throw that many body shots. When he does, he's usually coming up and under with them. But his accuracy with the right hand upstairs, along with the jab, reflected in those numbers.
Yeah, and it's still a high percentage of body punches landed by a man as tall as he is.
All right, Harold Letterman, how do you have it through 6?
Okay, Jim, 60 to 54, 6 rounds to nothing, Vitali Klitschko. Jim, he's winning this fight on clean punching, as we see. Nice left jab, good right hand underneath. One thing I noticed, when Cristobal Arreola gets inside, Vitali ties him up. And John Shirley's really breaking him up very, very fast. I mean, he should warn Vitali for holding, because Chris needs that, that inside game. He's got to get inside and punch, and John's breaking him up real quick. So watch for that. 6-0 Klitschko.
Actually, Vitali's been so effective with his punches so far, Harold, that he's held less than I expected him to. I expected him to have to fold up Arreola inside more frequently than has been the case.
Well, he's had the side-to-side movement that's kept Arreola off of him.
Now the Klitschko rooters in the crowd begin to chant. Brother Vladimir is in Vitali's corner as well, as no doubt you've seen. The way the division has gone, it's irresistible for boxing reporters not to speculate. Let's put it this way. You can't resist speculating on what would happen if the two brothers got into the ring with each other. They keep saying it's not going to happen, although both have been a little more flexible about that idea recently. The general consensus, of course, is that Vladimir's a better athlete, better all-around boxer, and Vitali's tougher. And they have the psychological advantage of being the older brother, if it were ever to happen, which it probably won't.
Oh!
Good body shot by Vitali Klitschko.
It's amazing, Angel's clean shots, and then he can get away before a guy can return a punch back.
And that's, again, Emmanuel, because most of them are arm punches.
And also because he is so adept at managing space in the ring. That punch was on the back. And Shirley kind of nods at Arreola to make clear he knows that.
Supreme conditioning may not be supremely important to a younger athlete, but it is to an older one. And Klitschko is a supremely conditioned athlete.
Well, consider this. The Klitschkos, both of whom weigh about 235, 240, 245 when walking around, they're the only heavyweights I've ever heard of who gain weight during training camp because they come to camp in such magnificent shape that all they do is add muscle. There's Vladimir. Holder of 2 title belts. His brother holds 1. Nikolai Valuev holds the 4th.
Okay, try to go to the middle. Everything is going fine so far. I tried again and again. He's missing and missing and missing.
Here you see Vitali Klitschko land, which is typical of the kind of punches he's landing as Arreola is trying to come in, catch him with clean shots, and then after he lands those shots, he usually moves away very well right away off to one side or the other.
The 7th round was typical of all its predecessors numerically. Klitschko 25 out of 77. Arreola 8 of 32.
Ruben Olivares, the great Mexican bantamweight, said that Arreola would have to show a lot of cojones to beat this big guy. He's shown that, but he hasn't shown he can beat him.
Klitschko, for the moment, has succeeded in quieting the Arreola fans.
Yep, he's fighting a very smart fight. He's tired. He's never has let Arreola take control of the fight still. And, you know, he's keeping it at a distance where he still can feel punches coming.
Hard left hand by Arreola.
Maybe I
tries to jump in and make it mean something.
Arreola's just never stopped trying.
And that brought his fans back.
And his confidence is rising too.
Watch your head, Vitali, watch your head.
Maybe he believes he's succeeded in tiring Big Vitali out with a fast pace. That was part of the plan as articulated to us.
Watch those heads coming in.
I was about to say 40 seconds ago that Vitali seemed to be trying to take a rest in this round. I think Arreola sensed it also.
Yeah, Arreola put a lot, and now he's creating a lot of product because he's closing that gap. And when you get close enough, Vitali still has that habit of fighting with his hands down because he normally can keep that distance. But if Arreola can continue to do what he's doing and get in close, it's going to be some problems in the next couple of rounds.
You watch this.
In the heavyweight division, more than any other division, you can dominate long stretches of the fight and still lose. More unexpected things happen here than anywhere else.
It's the only game you can hit a 10-run home run in the last inning.
Blood coming now from the nostrils of Chris Arreola.
Stop.
Blood in the mouth of Chris Arreola.
You okay, Chris?
Blood trickling down the rippling stomach of Arreola.
I got you. Great slip. Time.
Closest round of the fight.
¿Está quebrada? Sí. ¿Ya? Okay. Listen. Hey, relax. ¿Está quebrada? Sí. Okay. Deep breath. ¿Qué quiero el lago? ¿Qué quiere que me haga?
No, come on.
Okay, mira. Keep doing what you're doing, okay? I want you to look for that right hand, but you gotta let it go. You can't hold up, all right? 1, 2, all right? It's there, okay? You gotta keep doing what you're doing. Keep imposing yourself on him. All right? But I need you moving your head and let your hands work on the inside, all right? Deep breath. Huh?
Use your left jab and don't stop. Just jab while retreating.
That last round produced the highest number of connected punches so far for Arreola, 13, and the lowest number connected for Klitschko, 20. Let's see if the fight is really getting closer. We'll learn more in this round for sure.
Thank you. Okay, break.
The fighter is 38 years old, as Vitali Klitschko is. There's always the chance that he goes off the diving board all at once. We've seen no sign of that tonight. Chris Arreola is 28 and still learning. What Arreola, by and large, has been unable to do is to beat Vitali to the punch. Every time he goes in to try to pressure, it's Vitali who throws first.
Vitali's experience is really showing as the fight goes on and both guys are getting tired. You can see his experience, his ability to think and function better because of having been there before.
And within the last 10 seconds, I think Vitali Klitschko got a sense that maybe he's closing in on the KO.
Yeah, yes, he's landing more. Even though Arreola's creating excitement, he's not able to land too many effective, clean, hard punches.
And as Arreola takes more chances to try to get inside, Big Vitali's eyes are lighting up.
Break. I got you. Thank you.
Can't stop the right hand.
The fight is turning out as one-sided as the Mayweather-Marquez fight.
How about that quick little left hook as Arreola leaned in? How about that right uppercut?
Right uppercut, looping right hand around the side. Next time maybe straight, then another right hand to the body. So right now the fatigue is set in mentally as well as physically. And Arreola can't function as good as Klitschko right now.
A slight nick on the right eye of Klitschko.
I think that might be Areola's blood.
I think you may be right.
No, I think he has a little nick. I think he has a little nick on his right eye.
Let it all hang out. We gotta take some chances, right? We gotta take some big chances, right? Deep breath. Spit it all out. Spit it all out. Spit it all out. A little more. Indian, wipe his face with the wet towel. Wipe his whole face with the wet towel. Deep breath. Listen to me. Listen to me. Keep doing as you're doing. Keep moving your head. I need you working behind the jab, though, all right? Keep stepping to him.
Here you're seeing Vitali and Klitschko land two right hands. One is this uppercut type straight right hand, which he's a master at all these weird, strange punches that he can land. And then he changes up with another right hand, which is straight on the knuckles coming from the top.
He has landed by CompuBox count 111 more power punches through 9 rounds, 135 to 24. Vitali Klitschko has dominated the fight.
I don't know if this is any consolation for Arreola, but the only other fighter, heavyweight of Mexican descent, who fought for the title, as far as our crack research team can find out, his name was Emmanuel Ramos, back in 1968 against Joe Frazier, went just 2 rounds.
Harold, how do you have it through 9?
I'll get you 8 rounds to 1, 89-82, Vitali Klitschko. Jim, I tell you, I gave the 8th round to Chris Arreola. He got inside, he landed some nice shots, but around 9, I mean, Vitali beat him unmercifully, just like he's doing now with that left jab and the straight right hand and the right hand underneath. Vitali Klitschko winning this fight on clean, effective punching, good ring generalship, keeping him on the outside. 8-1, Vitali Klitschko.
The ability to think is a big factor right now as I look going down the stretch. I just look in the eyes of Vitali. He is able to think so much better than Arreola right now. And, you know, Arreola may really be careful. If you don't, he's going to get knocked out in the next round or two. It seems like he's getting a little careless. He's not thinking as well. And it won't be from winning one punch. It's a variety of punches that's grinding him down now.
There was a moment in the 8th round when Arreola may have thought that he was a rising tide, and to some eyes it could have looked that way. Vitali has a great sense of timing. He humiliated Arreola in the 9th round and eliminated his confidence level at that moment. Arreola is still trying, but he no longer has the same conviction about what he can do with his hands once he gets in there.
And you know, sometimes you see what the guy is going to punch like Vitali, you can't, because he does such a variety of punches, and when you're tired, your mind is not thinking that good, and he throws a right hand to the body, a left hook. Next time, you know, a different type of right hand. He moves and pivots on his punches, where he's punching and moving away at the same time. It's just very difficult instead of being a straightforward type guy where you can clinch and tie him up. He doesn't do that. He's steadily moving and turning and twisting.
You see, Arreola's no shrinking violet. He's going past the 8th round of a fight for the very first time in his career, and he's still pressing the action, trying to get at Vitali Klitschko. He has been technically outcrafted in the fight.
I don't know that I've ever seen Vitali Klitschko fight a more perfect tactical fight. Boom.
In the 8 fights which CompuBox has trapped Vitali Klitschko, he has landed more punches now in this fight than in any previous outing. And again, credit to Arreola. He's pressured Vitali all the way and made him throw a lot of punches.
Too heavy a price trying to get inside on him.
It's going wonderfully now.
Fight is over with.
Keep it up.
I think the referee is stopping the fight.
Either the referee or Henry Ramirez in Arreola's corner. And I believe it might have been Henry Ramirez who simply didn't want to see his fighter go out and get battered around.
I think it was a good call, because it was just a matter of time.
It was a downhill slide from the ninth round on.
Yes, Arreola would have finished the fight if they allowed him to. But I think the referee made a correct decision. It didn't look like any way he could turn this around with a sudden shock.
Arreola is weeping in the ring. He brought a lot of emotion to this. And I hope that the weeping is just disappointment and not embarrassment, because he made his mark as a competitor, if not as a boxer. In the 10th round, Vitali Klitschko had landed 34 out of 96 against only 5 of 34 for Arreola. The 5 connects were Areola's low number in the fight, and either the referee or the trainer or both saw that Arreola was not headed north but rather going south. Why bother letting him take another 3 rounds of straight hard shots from Vitali Klitschko? And there's the Arreola family, and they are just as disappointed as their dad. But in every fight, there's got to be a winner and a loser, unless it's a draw. And Vitali Klitschko was a heavy favorite to win here tonight, and he showed you why. CompuBox numbers almost as one-sided as last week's numbers between Mayweather and Marquez. Vitali landing 215 more. Throwing 471 more punches. That's nearly 40 more punches per round that he threw. Vladimir looks relieved, and he's talking on the phone back to Germany right now. 38% Vitali Klitschko on overall punches to 26 for Arreola. Power shots, well, Vitali landed 53%, and we have told you over and over and over, 99% of the time, if a guy has landed more than half his power shots, he has won the fight. Let's go up to Michael Buffer for the particulars on the knockout.
Ladies and gentlemen, before we give the official time, a round of applause for the challenger who showed unbelievable courage, and he will be back as a force in the heavyweight division, Cristobal Arreola. Referee John Shirley steps in and calls a halt to the bout. The end of round 10, the winner by TKO victory, and still WBC heavyweight champion of the world, Dr. Iron Fist Vitali Klitschko.
Arreola severely disappointed, but nevertheless getting some love from the people in his corner. His promoter Dan Goosen there in the background chatting with Vladimir. After all the abuse that Dan has heaped verbally on Vladimir, you got to give Vladimir credit. Maybe he doesn't know what Dan says about him, and he's back there chatting with him. And there's Dr. Iron Fist. Vladimir goes by Dr. Steel Hammer. Larry Merchant says he thinks it was Klitschko's most effective performance. Let's see what the winner thinks. Larry?
Thank you, Jim. Congratulations, Vitali. Was this fight more difficult for you than it looked?
Larry, I'm sorry. First of all, I want to say thank you very much for Chris Arreola. He's very good, very tough fighter. He was real heavyweight champion of the world. He will be champion sometime.
You said the other day that he has the qualities to be a champion, but right now, not right now. Was this as easy for you as it looked to us?
It's never easy. We have to give the best. Chris Arreola had his chance. He had a great performance. I was very surprised. He has great chin, and actually after this right hook, it's many my opponents go to the floor, but he still stay. Big respect.
Did anything he hit with you get your attention, that he was a threat?
I'm sorry.
Did anything he landed on you suggests that this man still is a threat?
I was very, very surprised. I have good movement, and all my left jab go to the air. I have very good prepare for the left jab.
You're 38 years old. Maybe you're only 34 because of all the years you took off. You looked as good as you've ever looked. Where do you go from here?
Anyway, I am 38. I am not the youngest in the heavyweight division. I don't want to break record of George Foreman. I feel me very good, and I feel me like 25.
Thank you. You looked it. Congratulations again.
Thank you very much for support.
Thank you.
Great fucking fight, man. Good performance, man. I was very surprised.
All right, thank you very much. Chris, a brave effort. Why did it fall short?
I don't know, man. I just want to say I'm sorry to everybody, man. I really wanted to be a champion today, man. And I worked my ass off. Fuck. Vitali was a strong motherfucker. He hits hard. And I never wanted to quit, man. That's never in me. I didn't want to quit. I wanted to go the full 12 rounds. I know it's fucking me up, but hey, I'm sorry, guys.
So you didn't want it to be stopped, but obviously your trainer and the referee felt that you were taking too much punishment and you were not able to get to him in any way consistently.
Nah, I couldn't get to him, man. He was fighting the fight he was supposed to fight. He ran when he was supposed to. I just couldn't get to him, man.
Why? You had a plan to get on the inside and to use your superior speed, hand speed on the inside. What did he do to neutralize that?
Why did he beat me? He was just a smarter fight in there. And whatever I did, he'd find a way to counteract that. And he just found a way to win, and I'll find a way to lose.
I think you gained a lot of fans in losing here for giving a great effort. Thank you very much, Chris.
A todos los que están aquí, perdón por no haber ganado. Le puse todas mis ganas. Perdón de veras. Y voy a venir para atrás. I promise I'll be back. This ain't the last you've seen of me. Fuck that, I'm coming back.
Thank you very much, Chris.
Thank you, Larry.
Jim?
Hey. All right. The emotion of Chris Arreola. Emmanuel, what is Vitali fighting for? I mean, he aside from the fact that he's making tons of money and he's unbeatable, it's clear that his little brother has edged past him as the world's #1 heavyweight, and he isn't going to fight Vladimir, so he isn't going to become the #1 guy. Is this about them corralling all 4 belts? Is that really why he's still fighting?
That's the only thing, because originally when he came back, his real hopes was really to have a fight with Lennox, because it was still Lennox. That was what he used to discuss that with me. His dream was really having that one big fight with Lennox. That was what he wanted. And after that, I think he refocused his mind on them holding all of the belts at one time. So I think the only way that's going to happen, they'll maybe fight David Hay and Valur one or whatever. But for the most part, it's not much use for him to fight anymore. But he does not intend to fight much longer. He told me that too. Regardless of what he said about the George Foreman thing, he said he just wants 1 or 2 fights. He was hoping to get Lennox. If not, he would like to have one big fight. But he's on top of the world. If he stops right now, he'll be bigger and bigger each day as time goes on.
If these two guys, either he or Vladimir, if they collect that 4th heavyweight belt, then does he go off into the twilight, run for mayor of Kiev again?
I think it's very possible. You know, you can never tell. You know, it's I think knowing when to quit is a part of being a winner. That's just like when you're gambling. That's the trick. If Roy Jones had to quit after he won the heavyweight championship, he would have been on top of the world. But instead, he had to go for more. So I really would like to see him have one fight more quit. Otherwise, he may end up with him and his brother maybe fighting. And believe me, I've saw those two. If they did ever fight, and I should say that it's going to be the most brutal heavyweight fight that there's ever in history. I know the makeup of the both of them, and both of them fight where they don't want to lose. And that's why they had to actually quit sparring with each other, because they was beating each other up too much.
And if Germany's economy doesn't collapse, one of the biggest money fights in history, too. Larry, you began the evening by saying that you thought Chris Arreola had a serious chance against Vitali Klitschko. In retrospect, was that wishful thinking?
I was out not on a limb or even a twig, but on a leaf. And I think it crashed to the floor like a big old acorn. I didn't think that Vitali Klitschko could still put on that kind of a performance at his age and with some of the chronic injuries he had before. But also a thought that has occurred to me is, what would Americans really think of the Klitschkos if they came off a ranch in Texas, or
a farm in Nebraska,
or the mining
or
area
a ski
of
mountain
Western
in Montana,
Pennsylvania?
anywhere in the
Right,
United States?
Yeah. How would we look at them? Would we worry about their styles? Would we think they're heroic? Now, of course, we did adopt Manny Pacquiao, who's a fireball, and maybe that's easier in a not American fighter to adopt. As for Arreola, everyone was hoping or thinking maybe this is the American heavyweight who could be a defibrillator, get the heart pumping again. He did give a hell of a good effort. He was just in with a better and a bigger man.
Indeed. And as my own final comment on all this, what a night. Great interview with Floyd Mayweather. Fun to talk to him after his giant victory over Juan Manuel Marquez. All the enthusiasm here in Staples Center. Another return to the heavyweight division and that continuing discussion. Memo to any heavyweight fighter from any culture, the United States or elsewhere, who wants to beat a Klitschko, either Klitschko. These are 365-day-a-year guys. They don't take a single day off from their dedication to the craft of boxing and to the conditioning necessary to be at their best every time they go into the ring. Somebody who thinks that he can take 10 days off to have fun, party, drink, and then come back to the gym and get on the same page is not going to beat a Klitschko. It's as simple as that. Thanks very much for being with us, and we're looking forward to having with you again. If you missed any part of tonight's telecast, you can catch it in its entirety on HBO tomorrow morning at 8:45 a.m. or Monday night at 11 p.m. Klitschko versus Arreola will also re-air on HBO 2 tomorrow afternoon at 4:30 p.m. and Tuesday late night at midnight. October 24, it's the return of our Emmy Award-winning series 24/7. Step inside the lives of superstars Manny Pacquiao and Miguel Cotto as they